Ever get that itch? You know, the one where you look at a map and think, I could do this better. Okay, maybe not the whole world, but like your neighborhood, that park you always go to. Well, today we're diving into the world of OpenStreetMap, where people actually do that. Think of it as Google Maps, but everyone's got editing privileges. Missing trail, new coffee shop, that pothole you always swerve around. Update it yourself.
Yeah.
It's the Wikipedia of maps. But, and this is a big but, how accurate can a map made by, well, anyone actually be? That's what we're digging into today. We've got a research paper comparing OpenStreetMap data to the gold standard, Ordnance Survey maps.
And the Ordnance Survey, or OS, is legendary for its accuracy. Imagine teams literally walking every street, measuring every field boundary, keeping everything perfectly up to date. It's this massive, meticulous effort.
So yeah, kind of high bar for OpenStreetMap to live up to, right? This research, they focused on roads, which makes sense. It's how most people use maps, and it's a good way to compare these two approaches.
Right, and they weren't just looking at, is the road on the map? They dug into two key things. Positional accuracy, so like how well does OpenStreetMap actually pinpoint where things are? And completeness, how much of the actual road network is represented?
So get ready, because we're about to see just how those volunteer-drawn lines stack up against the official survey data. All right, so it's like this. In one corner, we've got OpenStreetMap, built by people who just, well, love maps. And in the other corner, the UK's Ordnance Survey with their teams and their budgets and their, like, official map-making mandate. Round one, positional accuracy. Can OpenStreetMap actually nail where stuff is?
So picture a map of England, right? All the motorways lit up. The researchers took the Ordnance Survey data, that's our super accurate baseline, and they laid the OpenStreetMap data right on top. Then it's, how well do they line up?
Like if you were tracing, how close is that OpenStreetMap line to the original?
Exactly.
Oh.
And they didn't stop there. They zoomed in on 5 areas around London, totally random. This time, smaller roads, your A roads and B roads, the kind you're probably driving every day.
So not just is the M25 on there, but like, did they get that weird side street I used to avoid traffic?
Yeah, and for these smaller roads, they use what they call a buffer zone. Imagine a circle around the road on the OS map. If the OpenStreetMap road falls inside that circle, good. The more of it's inside, the more accurate it is.
So it's like how much of your OpenStreetMap road fits within the lines, basically.
Yeah, exactly. The closer it is, the better the volunteers did.
Which, speaking of, let's find out how they did, shall we? Okay, drum roll, please. How did those OpenStreetMap volunteers do against, actual professional surveying?
All right, let's start with the big boys, those motorways. They looked at how much those OpenStreetMap lines overlapped with the OS data, right? On average, 80% overlap. That's pretty good.
80%, so like basically got it.
Yeah, especially considering it's people in their free time, maybe with the GPS unit, versus, the OS with its whole thing.
That's wild. So you're telling me if I download OpenStreetMap data, plan a road trip, I'm probably going to be fine.
You'd probably be fine, although there was a bit of a range, like the M25, that big ring road around London, 88% overlap, super accurate. But some of the motorways, they were down around 60%.
Okay, so some volunteer mappers are more into it than others, maybe. What about those smaller roads, the A roads and B roads? Those were all around London, right?
Yep, 5 different areas, totally random. And remember those buffer zones. For the A roads, OpenStreetMap averaged 88% overlap with the OS data.
Even better than the motorways? Those local mappers are killing it.
Right. B roads were a little lower, 77% overlap, but still.
Still really good. Okay, I'm sensing a but coming, though.
Well, yeah, just like the motorways, the accuracy really depended on where you were looking.
Oh, so it's neighborhood by neighborhood how good the map is?
Pretty much. Some areas, like South Norwood, almost perfect. Roads matched up great, very few mistakes. But then Highgate, for example, kind of all over the place. Roads in the wrong spot, bits missing.
Sounds like Highgate needs some more volunteer love then. Okay, so we've seen how accurate things are or aren't. But what about just how much of England has been mapped on OpenStreetMap?
Right, so this research, it was done back in 2008. And at that point, OpenStreetMap had about 29% of England covered with road data.
29%, that's like almost a third of the country. And we're talking everything, like a tiny little lane strip.
Everything. If you narrowed it down to just the bigger roads, the kind of the OS usually maps, it was about 24%.
Still. And that was, what, 15 years ago? Imagine how much more there is now.
Oh, absolutely. OpenStreetMap is constantly growing, changing. That's really cool to see.
So, to wrap things up, we've learned that you don't need a fancy government agency to make a pretty darn good map. OpenStreetMap, even back in 2008, was surprisingly accurate. A little inconsistent, sure, but hey, it's run by volunteers. And it makes you think, if people can map the world, this well in their spare time. What else can we achieve when we put our collective energy into something?
Right. It's pretty inspiring, actually.
It really is. So next time you're out and about, take a look at OpenStreetMap, see how your neighborhood's looking, maybe even add a few details yourself. You might just find yourself hooked on the world of collaborative cartography.